Most of my research so far has been looking at global climate change. So I'm interested in how rising atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations will affect forest growth, because plants, trees, take up carbon dioxide via photosynthesis and fix it into plant biomass. And so if plants take up more carbon dioxide, if concentrations in the atmosphere are rising, then they could help mitigate or slow down some of that rise in atmospheric CO2. One of the most interesting things that we've seen is that a forest that we had exposed to elevated carbon dioxide concentrations, instead of making more woody biomass when they had more carbon, they made more fine roots. And those roots are very, very tiny, 2 millimeters in diameter, that are most active in water and nutrient uptake, and they turn over very quickly. So sometimes they live less than 2 weeks, and so they can become incorporated into the soil, and potentially that carbon could stay in the soil for a long time. I'm an ecologist, but one thing that I do is work closely with ecosystem modelers. So they take the data that I collect in the field and they use it to inform models that are projecting what's going to happen in 100 years. That's something I can't do with my research, but my data are invaluable to them in order to project future forest responses to climate change. There is not a typical day for me. It just depends. Some days I'll be out in the field doing an experiment, digging around in the soil, sampling roots. Some days I'll be in the laboratory doing soil incubations, looking at carbon dioxide efflux, looking at soil nutrient cycling. Some days I'll be in my office writing papers or putting together a talk for a meeting. I do get to work with students. We have great programs that allow us to have undergraduate students come and work with us to see the environment, to see the large-scale projects, the long-term projects, getting to work with all of these experts in their fields. I mean, that's how we all learn. That's how I learn to do what I'm doing, is through experience. It's not dirt. Dirt is what you throw away. Soil is what you keep. And so these are our long-term archive samples that we've taken. A 12-year-long experiment looking at elevated carbon dioxide in a sweet gum plantation just ended last summer. And so if anybody around the world would like to look at the effects of elevated carbon dioxide on soil characteristics, we have samples available for them to do that. I don't necessarily help make policy decisions, but I do help inform the models that allow scientists to project what the environment's going to look like in 100 years. And those scientists are the ones that are informing things, reports like the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the Nobel Prize-winning report from 2007, that does help policymakers make decisions about how we should respond to global climate change. And so I like to think of my research as sort of being one step along the way towards sort of envisioning a future climate.